life is a banquet laden with juicy food and drinks that I want to touch and taste and imbibe and smell and experience. I want to roll in all of it.
Hello again, beautiful people. My name is Adrian Pangilinan, and welcome back to Soul Supremacy, where we talk about all things unapologetic, all things passion and in pursuit of. And for today, another Friday, another episode, and to my this over here, there I'm doing it correctly. Another beautiful guest. I'm super thankful for this person, my friend Kaitlyn Fae, to be on the show because she is someone whose work that I've been following for a while, ever since we met, or at least I've seen her short film following Jamie at the San Diego Filipino Cinema mixer event back in August 2019. So ever since then, I've been a fan, and I'm super thankful to have her on the show. Kaitlyn, how are you?
I'm doing well. You're such a popular host. I'm flattered I made the waiting list. So I'm happy right now.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Nice. Actually, let me read her bio because
Oh gosh.
I'm not.
Where did you find this?
just your Instagram, actually.
Oh, okay.
Your Instagram bio.
Okay, good.
Perfectly curated, by the way. Okay, so according to Kaitlyn, our kapatid's Instagram bio over here is she is a freelance writer, an actor, filmmaker, musician. She is the head writer for Cuento Comics, in which focuses on comic stories that introduce Filipino mythology through an exciting urban fantasy comic series, which I also read again on her bio. So I'm just like hopping from one bio to another last minute. And lastly, she is the lead singer for Rue, the band. Yes.
Yes. Amongst other things, but yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Adrian.
You're welcome. So and it's funny because y'all didn't see like the first 30 minutes of this. the pregame.
I thought it was on, so I was like talking about stuff, and I'm like, wait, no one's listening.
It's just us.
It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. It's good enough to speak to you, Adrian. There needs to be no one else.
Well, literally, there's no one else.
There's literally no one else.
Right now. Yeah. Okay, so before we actually get started with the main interview, and I know you're familiar with this because you've seen an episode of the podcast, is we're gonna do the icebreaker question, in which I realized a while back that I'm like, maybe I should have named it something else, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just stay basic and simple and still call it the icebreaker questions. So my first question for you, kapatid, is what are 3 things about you that people normally wouldn't know when they like see you or meet you for the first time? At a first glance.
3 things. I have been told multiple times. I'm to this day, I'm not really quite sure how I should take it, but I'm gonna take it as a good thing.
Okay.
I have been told multiple times that when people first met me, the impression was quite different from what they know of me after having gotten to know me. Mm-hmm. And primarily that has to do with, apparently I come off as a lot more poised and put together than I actually am. So, apparently I come off as like, like this, like, I don't know, like go-getter who's like really on top of her stuff. And in reality, I'm extremely disorganized and not always on top of my stuff. And also there also tends to be a sense of like maybe I feel like I look like or act like I'm the shit or something, but in reality, apparently I come off as far more down to earth. I don't know, maybe that's just the disorganized part coming out. But I was like, you know what? I'll take it. I would rather people be slightly intimidated. No, that's not true. I don't want people to be intimidated. But I would rather give off the impression that I'm on top of my stuff rather than not. At least at first. So yeah, that's I think a common first impression. And you wanted 3 things?
Yes, or at least 3. I mean, that's not to be 3, but actually at first it was 5, and then I did 3, or 2, or 10.
I have a really long tongue. Do you want to see it?
Go, yes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yes, you better.
So now you guys know.
that for sure people wouldn't know for the at a first glance unless
Yeah.
if she just walked up and was like, hey.
Yeah. My mom, when I was a child, used to say that, like, yeah, that's why you talk so much, because you have a long tongue, you know. I was like, ooh. Just fun facts. I don't know what else to say.
No, oh no, you're good. It's okay. It's as fun and as like whatever you want to say, right? But to respond to your first the first thing that you said about like the way you carried yourself,
Yeah.
I agree, but I didn't. I guess for me, maybe to answer my own question from my perspective to you,
Okay. Yeah.
maybe good.
Sure.
Like yes, like the confidence. Like the way that you carry yourself, there is such elegance, poise, and confidence
No.
about it, and I feel like why does it have to be that you can only be one and not the other? Like why
That's a
can't
good point. Yeah.
you
Um,
know?
some of the most poised people I know are actually in a flurry to get somewhere, oftentimes because they are overbooked or they're overstressed or they have a lot
Yes,
going on in their mind. And I think, especially with women in our society, there's an expectation for them to
do it all.
not just do it all, but also like appear flawless or like they're on top of things. And if a girl or a woman is not on top of things, it's a little more disapproved of, or it's just considered sad.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Jinx. There you go.
Yeah, like you know how in movies there's the common trope of the man child. This is the bachelor who just drinks all day and he says stupid things and he does dumb things and he has no job, but everyone loves him because he's so funny. And somehow the ladies end up liking him anyway. Within like the past like 10, 15 years, I was watching a video essay about this. Hollywood has started to come out with shows and movies that feature the trope of the woman child, which tends to be a woman in her like 20s or 30s who just kind of defines this idea of failure to launch. She has like she has terrible relationships, romantic relationships. She clings to her friendships, which are very intense. She works at a dead end job and has dreams of becoming like a dancer or something, and everyone thinks she's not going to make it. She lives in a
It
city
sounds
that's
like
expensive.
me. I'm that woman.
I am feeling very called out right now. And I realize the thing with the woman child is you're supposed to laugh at it because it's so sad. Look at this woman. She does not have her shit together. But if a guy doesn't have his shit together, it's just more accepted. That's boys will be boys. That's how he's going to be. But if a woman is 30 something and not married without kids and without a good job, it's seen as a pity, and this needs to be fixed. So I do think there's a lot of pressure for women, especially in our society, to project that image of I've got it all. I've got the money. I've got the job. I've got the boyfriend. I've got the husband. I've got the kids. I've got the clothes. I've got the car. I've got the house. I've got the talent. I've got the brains. I got the charisma. And I've got the kindness. It's like,
and you also get 8 hours of sleep.
And 8 hours of sleep with glowing skin and my chia smoothie every morning at 7. It's just impossible. And so, yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. I guess I'd rather people perceive me as that than someone who doesn't have her shit together. But the fact of the matter is I oftentimes don't have my shit together. And you know what? That's okay. I'm still out here doing stuff. I'm going to try my best. Even if rent is slightly, no, I pay my rent on time. Bills. Sometimes I forget to pay a couple of them. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. It's humanly, in this life, like something that I've really been kind of like reflecting on recently is no matter how hard we try to control things, there are just certain or actually many humanly experiences that we can't control. Like we just can't because we're human. We don't have that power. So therefore we can't.
And you cannot please everyone. And it sounds so basic. Like that's something they teach you in like kindergarten, but even I struggle. I think different personalities have different struggles. And I just kind of have the personality where I have to really, really iterate to myself, like not everyone's going to like this. Not everyone's going to approve, or it's not going to resonate with everyone. That's okay.
And that's okay. That gets to be okay.
Yeah, especially as an artist. it's worth it to create one thing that means something to you, because chances are there's someone out there for whom this will really resonate and could change their life. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
yeah.
it in a nutshell.
Nice. To the last thing I want to say before we segue to the next question is Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah.
Didn't she was Miss India, then became
Mhm.
Miss World. Is it Miss World? No, it's Miss World. Miss World
I
2000.
don't know. Maybe
No, she's Miss World, not Miss Universe.
Okay.
Actually, Priyanka.
I feel like we would know if she was Miss Universe. She's something. Yeah.
Priyanka, this is an invitation. You can come here, defend yourself. But
I know.
she was
set the record straight.
Yes, she actually. I listened to her episode with Kathy Heller, who the podcast "Don't Keep Your Day Job," and that's what she talked about, like the idea of confidence, like being something that you like carry as one of your tools in your purse. Like on some days you take it out when you need it, and some days you don't, because like going back to the humanly experiences, like there are days that we just need to be able to feel like like we're crumbling, and there are some days where we just kind of put on the confidence hat and be like,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. It also doesn't help that, in our digital age, nobody's really posting their failures online, right? Everyone's posting the good things. So it creates this dynamic of, if something good isn't happening to me, it's not worth talking about.
Contorted view of like reality.
Yeah, and that's not even to say about the airbrushing or the careful, curation of everything. Sometimes you just have to own up and be like, yeah, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to do me anyway. And it's that confidence that allows people to really stop and take notice of you in a good way,
Yes, that's actually, I feel like when we allow ourselves to like reveal, even if it's just like a super tiny like chip, that's actually when like people like, I feel like obviously the wall comes down, and people can actually like, that's when the connection I feel like really happens, is when you like allow yourself to be seen, like in like ways that you don't want to be seen, people are like, oh wow,
Well, I think it's also a distinctly human behavior. When you first meet someone and someone divulges perhaps a more intimate level of information about themselves, it's kind of intuitive. The other person feels like, oh, I feel like I should share something about myself too that matches that level of disclosure. So, and the deeper you go, the more the other person is likely to reciprocate. And that's how intimacy is fostered, actually. But you can foster some level of intimacy as well with people who don't really know you by posting about things that happen to you that are maybe not things you're proud of.
Not sexy?
Can you believe it? You can post about things that are not
sexy.
Yeah, not sexy at all, even. So, yeah. No, Priyanka's right. I'm acting like I know her. Pri is right.
My
girl Pri, yeah.
Pri. Okay, so I know I've said this many times, but I'm just like, that's actually like what you just said, or what we just talked about, was actually has been in the back of my mind. And I like the Phil Film Collective. We started this Monday writing sessions, and it's only been 2 weeks.
I saw that. Yo,
you should join us when you're free.
Okay, that's the only thing. I saw that. I was like, about to click me, but then I was like, man, I'm so busy. I don't want to give them this expectation that I can show up all the time, and then I don't show up. But if you're saying it's very low key,
it's super low key. It's super low key. You come when you can.
I am working on a graphic novel series right now, as you know, and I could definitely use some support. Like,
yes,
because you guys are just writing together, right? Like,
yes, we actually also have another person who's like writing like a short form novel, or like a novel. Yeah, short story novel. Yeah.
And you guys are all INFJs. I read that.
Us three, yeah. Marissa's actually not. She's taking a break, but it's Trixie and I, and then like we're making new friends actually as we're opening up the collective to
so
like
popular.
more people. You're popular.
Let's talk about it. I'm actually kind of. Is it just like a Zoom link or something? Because I'm.
A Discord. We have our own Discord.
Oh, Discord. My goodness.
Just kidding.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yes,
So
yes.
Discord.
I'll
Yeah.
send you the link after.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all, I feel like this is gonna be the tangents of the tangents episode, and I live for this. Yes, we will run with this. So the reason why I brought that up was because in that meeting, I like showed up late, and then I was like, "What am I working? Like, I'm not working on any screenplay, or at least feel confident to like pick up." So I just started doing it was like a streams of consciousness. So basically, I was just typing the whole time, like
I've done that before. Yeah, that's
not
fine.
editing and stopping.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
You should be doing that.
Yes, yeah.
You're doing it right.
Thank you. So that's what I did, and I wrote about. It's called Home, and it's really like such a touchy subject. It's what I'm currently going through, and a part of me still feels like this is something that I want to share with the world. You know, but I feel like I'm getting closer to a yes.
Okay.
And I do feel like I actually want to publish that into a blog post and then tie that with social media. So,
I mean,
posting things that are not sexy.
Dude, can I just say, you were talking about just like, well, let me just write something, some stream of consciousness, whatever. And now it's turned into a thing. Like I could actually turn this into a blog post. I would like to share something that I have done in the past with my friends. I am that chick who's always trying to start writers groups or get people to write. Like that's just me. That's why I'm the director of writing at Film Creative. Yeah, I've started many clubs and produced multiple writing classes. But one of my favorite things to do with my friends is, you know, either we get out pieces of paper and just like, there's like a theme, like, I don't know, like a bird, type of bird or fairy tale, right? It's popular fairy tale. And then we put the slips of paper into like a jar and you mix it up. I think sometimes there's like 2 jars with 2 different topics. And then each person has to pick out a slip from each jar. And those 2 slips, the topics on there are what you're going to write about. And so you have a chat. It's not done. And then we take shots, like not a ton of shots, you know, not like, we're not trying to get drunk, but you take at least 1 shot of some kind of hard liquor just to get I'm telling you, dude. It works. It works. Like you take a shot, at least 1 shot, not to get sloppy, but to take the edge off. You have 1 hour, you like 30 minutes to 1 hour, whatever time it's limit you set, and you just go. And whoever finishes first wins. But the point is to just finish it. The point, I mean, you don't have to do the whole, you know, contest thing, but the point is just write. As Ernest Hemingway said, write drunk, edit sober. And oh my God, when I started doing this, I was like, why am I so much better when there's alcohol in my body? It's because you're not filtering yourself. You don't care. And I'm like, this is really good. I should always be drunk. No, it's true. When I discovered that when I record music now, I have to have a glass of red wine because I'm so much better after having taken you're not overthinking it. You're just in the moment. You're present. And it doesn't have to be slips of paper. It can be photographs. Like, I really like this photograph. We're going to trade photographs on the count of 3. Go. And you send it. And that's your prompt, you know? So, sorry, I didn't mean to take up that whole chunk, but I just got excited. No, it's an idea.
This is your episode, okay? This is your chunk. You can put as much chunk.
Make it chunky as I want.
It's also the chunkiest episode ever.
But like, because I know you guys are writing, and I don't know if you all drink, but maybe it doesn't have. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a puff on something. Who knows?
You know what? Actually, Trixie, so I'll give you a Cliff Notes version. So we danced together for the longest time, but it really wasn't until like we started working. Well. Yes. Oh, yes. That's how we met. So
great.
So it wasn't until like we started working on like let me get my thoughts together. It really wasn't until this like current chapter of our lives that we like actually bonded and became closer. She would always invite me for like Friday game nights where they would just drink and play video games. So to answer your question, the possibility of that likely happening is very, very, very like it's gonna happen. So yes.
Wow.
There you
go. Glad I could impart that idea. I think I just came up with it one day. I was like, we're gonna take shots and we're gonna keep writing until we're finished, you know?
No, for sure. And like Yeah, I think being able to like, I think at some point, I think us two at least right now that are active in the collective, I think we would
Mhm.
really appreciate having like a meeting with you and just kind of like
Yeah.
being able to kind of like,
Oh, I can tell you
you
what I've
know,
done in the past. Yeah, definitely to help encourage people to write. I'm doing this partially for myself too, because when I encourage other people to write, it forces me to write. And
oof,
I was just
yeah.
telling a friend the other day, one of the most important pieces of writing advice I came across online was like
Mhm.
number one rule is finish your shit. Like
Mm.
just finish, just get to the end, even if it sucks, even if it's riddled with plot holes, even if the grammar is terrible, just get to the end because you can always go back and fix things later. And once you get to the end of whatever it is you're writing, you'll be able to take a step back and it's going to be so much easier for you to see like, oh, okay, I know what I need to fix now.
Mm.
But a lot of
Yes.
people start things, like I've done this a million times. You start things and you just lose steam and you're just like, never
Yeah.
mind, I don't want to do this anymore. But the way that you get where you are today, as you know, Adrian, is by like basically finishing up projects. And even if it's not perfect, you put it out there and that's what you're building off of. But you're building your career off of these projects that you're finishing. So just finish it.
Wow, there you go. See, a
Yeah.
master class over here,
Thank you
spoken
for coming to my TED Talk.
eloquently. Yes, and the podcast
Finish
filming is
your
done. There
shit.
you go.
Yeah.
Yes, finish your shit, put it
Finish
out
your
there,
shit.
and create the next shit.
Great.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay, Caitlin. So I know we were talking about food earlier. What's your favorite
Oh
food?
yes. Oh God. My favorite food. Um, I really like Asian food. I know it's so typical. I really like, I guess my favorite food is like Japanese food, but I'm also
Mm,
really, really into Thai food, Indian food, Korean
mm.
food, Filipino food. Just a lot of Asian. I do like Italian food. I really like sushi. I feel like I could eat sushi every day. If I
Oh, I
was stuck,
did for 3 days last week.
oh
4 days
really?
all together.
Lucky
Yeah.
you. That raw fish, you know. But also, if I was stuck on a deserted island and I had to choose one food that I probably wouldn't get sick of,
Mm.
it'd probably be like a chicken empanada. You know, like the ones that like your
That
mom gives you.
completely went
I
there.
know. Sorry.
I was like, no, no, you're good. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
she's ready to say
Sushi.
sushi.
No, chicken empanada. Yeah.
I was like,
But to me, that's kind of, I know that's Spanish in origin, but it's also kind of a Filipino pastry.
I love it. I
So
love
yeah, just
empanadas
again, back to the
actually.
Asian things, Asian food.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about self-care, or what is like a go-to like self-care, self-love routine that you like to do when things maybe
Ooh,
get a little intense?
self-care.
Like a practice.
I wish I could tell you. I think when, I don't know if this is self-care, but when I get really stressed out or if I'm really in my feels, I'll put in my earbuds and I'll just listen to music for hours. I'll just be in my room and I'll just feel the music and I'll just I'll cry, I'll go through the emotions, I'll like dance to the song in my room. You get it, right? Like anything to purge these really strong emotions or to purge the stress, I kind of have to listen to music or dance it out. I think last year during the pandemic, I discovered dance meditation, and holy shit, I.
Club quarantine.
But it would like I would love to share the video with you because I know you're a dancer and I'm sure you would be into this kind of thing. But
Mm.
it's just there's no moves, there's no choreography. You just play the music and you just wherever the music takes you,
And you're
whatever
moving.
your
You're
body, you
moving.
follow what your body is trying to do. And who
Yes.
cares what the neighbors think? You know, who
And
cares
that's
what your roommate thinks?
beautiful. That is freaking beautiful, because I think for anyone really, especially trained dancers, I
Yeah.
will have to say, to get to that level of vulnerability
Oh,
is actually a very, very what do I say this? It's hard.
yeah.
Because the more, like, going back to our thing earlier, the more poised someone can be,
I
the
can see
more I
that.
guess
Yeah.
that's revered upon versus
In
someone
the
who's just
dance
like
community, yeah.
kind of embracing the eunice, leaning more into like self, like
I
yeah.
I know exactly what you mean, and as someone, so unlike you, I mean, I've taken dance before. But I'm not like you. I'm not like a dancer, but I'm not
Yes, you are.
very.
Yes, you are, girl.
I'm not very kinesthetically aware, and by that I mean I've never been really good with my body. I'm terrible at directions. I had a very strict Filipino teacher in my ballet when I was a kid, and she used to carry a stick, and she would go 1 and 2 and 3, and she would like kind of hit you with a stick if you were wrong. And I remember she shamed me in front of the whole class when I was like 6 or 7 years old because I didn't know which way to turn. I was getting mixed up. Yeah. And
Oh, that's horrible.
I just remember thinking, I'm really terrible at directions and I don't feel part of my body. But when I started doing the dance meditation, there's something primal that occurs. You lock into your body and the music flows through your veins like some kind of extraterrestrial DNA, and you just something takes over your brain, and it's like everything goes dark and you're one with the music and you're truly in your body. So for me, I just might do that tonight. Well, I just it
Me too. Oh, me too.
I'll send you the video. I'll send you the video. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I do to like self-care, I guess. I don't know. I should probably just sleep more and eat vegetables, but instead it's like dancing.
Okay, so you know what? Actually, that is the perfect segue to my last question for this icebreaker. Okay. Speaking of dancing, speaking of movement. So, if Kaitlyn Fae were to have her own TikTok dance challenge, what would the first move look like? And you please demonstrate.
First move. Dance challenge. So funny because every time people talk to me about TikTok, I'm like, what? What is that? They'll say like, yeah, you know that one TikTok video or you know that TikTok sound? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Okay, so my first dance move.
How would it start? There you go.
No. It would be like.
Oh, do it again. I love it. Do it again.
Like a Sailor Moon. No. Wait. No. There we go.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's like a. Yes. And
then.
I love it. Yes. You know Drama, right? Drama del Rosario?
Wait.
Does this sound familiar? Filipino queer.
Oh.
Documentary filmmaker.
Drama. I heard Drama. I was like, I know. Drama del Rosario. Okay, yeah.
Yes, Drama del Rosario. Yeah.
Yeah.
So his thing was this.
Oh, so he's just like the opposite, or it's going down. Mine's like going out from the face. Yeah. That's so fun. That's so weird. You remembered it.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm very like. I actually remember half the time I'm talking to you, I'm also taking mental notes. So. Yeah. Good
for an interviewer.
Yeah.
Well, you're also a dancer, so like you notice these things.
You can say that. Okay, so as we actually segue into the main interview, which we will continue to talk to our friend over here, our kapatid, who's doing very, very beautifully and answering all these questions. I also want to make the announcement that I think by the time this episode comes out, maybe you will have seen it or maybe not, but it just kind of came to me like randomly. So the question in itself about our guest doing TikTok dances, I didn't think of it as anything besides like for fun, for shit and giggles, basically. But then one day I was like, what if I combined all of these together and actually turned it into something?
Oh, like all your guests doing a little dance?
Yes. So I thought,
yeah.
Yes, I thought about it. I'm actually so that's the plan. I think by the time this episode comes out, maybe or maybe not, but I know for my third year, like YouTube dance video that I always do to celebrate, that's actually where I'm gonna source from. It's like incorporating some moves from like what you all have shared in the podcast.
That actually could work out really well if you just edit like even just 1 second and then put it to music.
Boom,
yeah,
boom,
like boom, boom, boom,
boom, boom.
Yo, and then you turn it into its own TikTok dance.
Yes, and you all get choreographer credits. There you go. Yes, I love it. So
This is
thank you.
brilliant.
I'm thank you. I was state of flow state. There you go. Not
And
overthinking, not
you didn't even
panicking.
need alcohol for it. That was you all on your own.
Oh, thank you. That was me. Like I was like, life has to get better than this. Let me stop panicking.
Oh my god, I'm there with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so my first question for you for the main segment is, and I
Mhm.
know you know this because you've seen the show, but who is Caitlyn?
Oh, who is Caitlyn? Gosh, that's kind of hard to say. Who are any of us?
Right?
I don't know. I've never had this question posed to me before.
Mm.
I wonder how I'm supposed to encapsulate myself in this answer. I
I
guess,
think honestly
yeah.
the way I mean I your the way like actually a lot of people like
Hmm.
actually everyone safe to say that everyone like has that same reaction
Yeah.
because if I were to ask myself the same thing, I'd probably feel the same way too.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
but I mean, I guess whatever you feel like you want to share. There you go.
Hmm. Okay. Well, Caitlyn is a person, and she is the kind of person who oh my gosh, I'm stumped. I usually know what to say. Okay, I think I'm the kind of person who certainly art is a very big part of her life. And it's kind of become her aim in life to communicate truths about the human spirit and the human experience through her art, through the things that she creates. I like how I keep switching between first and third person.
I love it.
No, it's like so
I
weird.
love it.
Okay, yeah, since I was a child, I've always felt like I wanted to pursue something beyond just the everyday, beyond just the physical, transcend into the metaphysical, transcend into the
Oh,
spiritual.
there you go. She's warming up. Let it out. Let it out. There, she's warming up. Go
Thank
ahead.
you for coming to my spoken word. No, I'm kidding. No, but transcend the mundane and the material. I've always wanted to communicate truths, personal truths, through my art. I've always wanted to understand the human experience. I've always wanted to dip my toes into every exciting aspect of the human experience out there. I've always wanted to experience life to its fullest. Life is a banquet laden with juicy food and drinks that I want to touch and taste and imbibe and smell and experience. I want to roll in all of it. I want to make as many friendships and relationships of deep intimacy as I can. I want to touch people on a physical and a spiritual and emotional level. I want to connect with like-minded people, and I want to bring my truth out into the world and discover the truth that others possess as well. I don't know. I feel like I don't know where else to go with this.
Caitlyn,
Yeah.
Okay. Let's all give her a round of applause for that, for surviving that question.
I was like,
That
I don't
was
know what to say to this question.
no.
So
I don't.
broad. Yeah.
I don't think anyone does.
Oh yeah, I'm sure everyone's like,
No one ever does.
yeah.
But that was so like raw and honest, and
Thanks.
I think maybe in like trying to like reflect while investigating at the same time, maybe it did sound like you were beginning to like chip into something that really felt to be true and sure.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, a lot of times we don't really know what we mean until we're halfway through the sentence, right? So we're like, oh, what am I trying to say? Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
how I work. I feel like I don't really
Nice.
think too much about what I'm going to say. You know how some people are very like they know exactly what
Oh
they're
no,
gonna
me
say.
too. Oh no.
I'm just like I'm just gonna start saying words.
Free
See where it
flow.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a free flow.
Free
Yeah.
flow.
It's like drinking that alcohol and just see what comes out.
Yes, there you go.
Just let it
Yes.
come out. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm at a loss for words. There you go. No, really, I'm at a loss for words because banquet. There you go. Oh gosh, like the part about the banquet, the
Oh
life, our
yeah,
lives being a banquet, and
yeah, yeah.
being able to have it all. I was like, I'm
Like blessed.
taking that,
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
that. Yes, quoted by our
yeah.
kapatid over here, Kaitlyn
Oh,
Fae over
thank you.
here.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. No,
Um,
definitely.
okay, so my next question for you is, I know we kind of briefly talked about it earlier, but it would really mean a lot for you to share from your experience about how we met, how we crossed
How
paths.
if I'm not mistaken, I believe we crossed paths last year.
We've crossed paths many times,
Wait, but
indirectly,
like
directly.
officially, I
Hmm.
think we officially met last year
Hmm.
when Charles and I were hosts for that
Yes,
mixer, right? Right.
yes, yeah,
We were asked by the super kind, super power, super couple, Emma and Benito,
hmm,
and they asked us to host this mixer for all these like talented Philippine ex filmmakers based out of San Diego. So it was all online. It was like one big massive Zoom call. And Adrian,
yeah,
one of your pieces was okay.
yes,
It wasn't just a mixer. It was also like
like Q&A.
yes, it was also a Q&A because the people we were interviewing, i.e. you, had made films that were part of like this program that
Yeah,
I guess like
local
SD
shorts.
Filipino, yeah, local, there we go, local shorts. Oh my gosh, it's been like almost a year, so I'm trying to recall now.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was like
Yeah,
November, but it feels like
it
it's
was
been
like
almost a year.
October actually, I think.
October,
Or
see there,
no, it
yeah,
was in November. Yeah, I think they messaged us in October, but I think it was in November. Yeah, but it was through the SD Filipino like
cinema.
Cinema Society. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you were one of them. And then I just remember meeting a ton of people that night and like kind of
yeah.
messaging them on Instagram, being like, oh, cool, like congrats or whatever. And I was trying to get everyone to like go watch these people's shorts.
Sending
Yeah,
the love and like
yeah,
really
yeah,
like or
yeah.
keeping the love like what's that called continuing to what am I trying to say, continuing to like whatever was fostered in that room, because I could have been in that room like a little bit longer.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, it was a shame. It was like we were really looking at the clock and trying to make sure people had time to speak because there was such a limited amount of time. But you're right,
Mhm.
we could have stayed there for far longer. It could have
Yeah,
been like a party, we just
yeah,
keep talking. But
yeah.
yeah, Adrian, you did a piece. I can't remember the name of it now,
It's
but it was,
Uhaw. Uhaw and Leia Bella. For that one, super thankful that they chose to. They told me to submit everything, so I did.
oh, right. Okay. But that
Yeah,
one, you were kind of just like in your room, right? And it was a
yeah.
series of cuts where you're kind of speaking directly to the camera, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
It's this
I,
room actually.
yeah. Yeah. And then, what's her name? Not Trixie, but
Marissa,
Marissa kind of did
same.
something slightly similar. But because
Yeah,
everyone was like kind of living the pandemic. So she's just like, I'm just going to film myself,
yeah.
doing my thing. And also Trixie kind of did something similar too, right?
It was
She was
actually a
dancing.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, so it was a
what was
pandemic
that pandemic?
project.
Yes, yeah. All of our stuff was
Oh,
like
okay.
pandemic based projects.
Okay,
Yeah,
well then that makes sense. Yeah, and Trixie was like dancing in her room, or she was dancing in her house or something, I think.
yeah.
So that's how I remember meeting all of you and just being like, "This is great." That Charles told me once, he was like, "Did you notice that the SD Filipino filmmaker community, or just like the SD entertainment media community in general for Filipinos, they have a way of uplifting each other that you just don't see in LA." And I was like, no, we uplift each other in LA. What are you talking about? But then like later when I thought about it, I was like, actually, they do have something special going on, which is I feel the support that your community holds up for each other is so unparalleled. And people are so willing to just share projects and throw shine on each other that it's actually quite inspiring. And it makes me feel kind of bad. I'm just like, maybe I should be doing this for my friends. But LA is a little different.
Aw.
I feel like you guys are very tight knit, whereas LA is just kind of crazy, But we still try to. We Filipino filmmakers and artists should still be looking out for one another. you know?
Yes. Thank
So you
you.
guys are really carrying the torch in that aspect. So
Thank you.
respect,
Oh, thank you.
respect.
Thank you, my love.
Yeah, yeah,
And to piggyback from what she was so her and Charles were the MC, they were co-MCing and
yeah.
host of the event, which I thought was awesome. I thought that they definitely chose the right people because we have Caitlyn and Charles who are like making it in the industry, facilitate an event filled with us guess you'd say kind of aspiring, upcoming, emerging. I think emerging is a better term, to
Emerging.
like be
Yeah,
facilitating,
yeah.
that event and
Mhm.
for them to have done that for us, that was such a nice way to give back to the community. And I think too, like the last thing that you did mention, which is super sweet. I've like actually have it does feel that way. And I've also never heard that like be expressed in that way. And I
Mhm.
think the reason why that is because in comparison to LA,
Yeah,
we don't have an industry here. So
that
we're
makes
it
sense.
almost
Yeah,
feels like
makes
we're
sense.
really like uplift we have to uplift each other because
You
we're
have
like kind of
to. Yeah,
we
like
have to like
yeah.
we have to because we're all trying to do it, but it's not like LA where it's like you can go there and there's work for you. So at this point, I think it's safe to say that we're definitely at a grassroots level in some shape or way. So
Would you guys say that you are kind of the main filmmaking organization for Filipinos in San Diego, or are there other ones that you know of?
no, it's
It's
definitely
just you guys, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
really that pressure, right, to
Yeah.
kind of rally all the resources that you have at your disposal. And the way you do that is by uplifting and sharing and kind of being
Yes.
there for another. Yeah, that's
Yes, but
great.
yes, but to actually that like literally just reminded me
Yeah.
as Filipinos, whether you're born here or the Philippines or wherever you're at in the world, that's
Mhm.
actually one of the traits that we really have is we're
Yeah.
very communal, and
Oh, yes.
we're very communal in that way
Yeah.
where a lot of times, it's a part of us to like give and uplift each other and it feel good, and not feel
Yeah.
like I'm
I
ever
mean,
taking away from anything. Besides, also just like crab mentality, you know.
well, yeah. There's the opposite side to every coin, right?
Mhm, you know.
I do agree that as cliche as it sounds, there is some truth to be held to this stereotype that Filipinos are very hospitable and family oriented and community oriented. Fun fact, I had to do
Mm,
a shit ton of research for this comic book series that I'm doing because
mm,
it takes place in the Philippines and it is
wow.
about Filipino mythology.
Ooh.
Talk about pressure because I'm not from the Philippines. I've been there like 4 times total, and the first time I was a baby, so I don't remember it. But it's just like I had to literally one night I spent hours trying to look up the philosophy of the Filipino people. And a lot of Filipino philosophy, I mean, a lot of it just mirrors kind of Western moralistic philosophy, but
That too.
the main cultural component is such that the individual is part of the community and the community is part of the individual. You can't really extricate one from the other.
Mhm.
Where what the Filipino is what their community is. Wherever you are, there's kind of like that, like also the like utang na loob, which is like the debt of the heart. Like you owe people who are you can't be where you are in life without someone having lifted you up or helped you in some way. No man is
Yes.
an island or a woman is an island.
Yeah.
So the community is such an integral part to the Filipino experience. It would be remiss if I didn't put that somehow into my story.
Yes.
And I've had to
Yeah.
have people from the Philippines like fact checking, like the script
Nice.
and stuff. And
Nice.
even then, I'm just like, I'm so insecure. I'm like, oh my god, I hope people don't crucify me for getting this wrong. Like down to like the house,
Okay.
the architecture, like the clothing, the specific dialect from the city that it takes place in. Like I have to get everything fact checked
Yeah.
because there's so few works of Filipino art in the American community. You like the
It has
pressure is it has
yes, it
to
has to
represent like
be.
you
It has to be
cannot make
perfect.
this stupid. You cannot half-ass this. So there's a lot of pressure
Oh,
to know, and I want to take a trip to the Philippines soon. If I can make the money or
oh,
get someone
me
to.
too.
When was the last time you were back home?
since I immigrated here
No,
20
what?
years ago. We should go together.
I mean, I'm down. Wait, hold on. You really haven't been back in 20 years?
Yeah. It's just
Wow.
it's crazy. It's like
Don't you
it's
miss
funny
it?
because I do, and it's funny because out of everyone in my family, I'm the one that never wanted to leave. But then, like 20 years later, like
You're like,
three
you
of
haven't
them,
gone back.
three of them have been able to go back. And I mean, I will be honest, it's the money. Like
Yeah, it's expensive.
learning how to make money in that way. But now with like what I'm doing with Uber Eats, oh God bless, I'm like
Well,
that
Isha,
is.
you just gotta get really rich and famous, and then it's not gonna be a problem for you.
Thank
Just
you
take a
for
jet.
anyone
Yeah,
sponsor
yeah.
me, sponsor us. We will create. We
Give
will
us money. We
we
need
will
money.
create. We will
Yeah,
work with you, right?
we
Fund
always
us.
need money. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah. No. Yeah. So yeah. To answer your question, or rather, to comment further upon what you said, community
Yeah.
is really huge for Filipinos. So
Yes, and the last thing I want to say about that is also like learning to address and definitely well acknowledge first the opposite side of things because learning to kind of especially now moving forward like learning to challenge some of the notions that are very actually problematic very
yeah.
problematic so
Hmm.
so so there's that too so there's that
Oh
yeah
yeah. Trust me, my story does that too.
that's good
Address the not so great issues.
yes
Yeah.
yeah we're excited and actually thank you for pushing and challenging yourself to
Yeah.
create to give back to the community speaking of community to our
Yeah.
community to create something even if it feels like you have to like jump out of your soul because
I mean,
there is that responsibility.
it's that you feel the burden of responsibility. But even if it wasn't about the Philippines, even if it was like any other culture, you better believe I need to do my research. Like, you
Oh
can't just
yes.
half-ass this shit.
Oh
I can't just
yes.
make up stuff.
Yes,
So
take notes and anyone
yeah.
take notes everyone especially
Yeah.
yeah I mean especially when you're like talking about someone's culture and history
Yeah.
especially if it's not yours at least the very bare minimum do your bare minimum
Do your
research make sure
bare
you're
min like do
correct
your best to try to get it as accurate as you can, unless there's like a
yes
really good reason why.
which is the bare minimum right
Which
do
is the
your
bare
very
minimum.
best
Do your
yeah
best. And there's even characters that are like, there's a transgender character. I need to do research into that to interview people. There's
oh
like people who are, there's like bisexual characters. There's like a sex worker. Even the male characters. I'm not a male. So the way a man or a boy is going to think and interact might differ in some aspects from the way a girl is raised to think and act. So even then, I want to
very
get that accurate because, we've all seen female characters written by men, right? Where it was just
uh
like, do you know any
never
women?
it
Do you
usually that
literally know
usually
any
doesn't turn
women?
out well.
Yeah. I
Mm-mm.
mean, some of them do, but yeah. And it goes the other way around. Some women
Mm-hmm.
characters or female writers who struggle to write male characters,
Yeah.
you gotta do your research and try your best. But yeah, I'm trying my best. It's not gonna be
Yes.
perfect by any means, but I tried.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of representation and
Yeah.
also but and being an artist since we're
Yeah.
on that subject
Yeah.
I'm actually curious we're gonna do like a dive like a huge dive
Let's dive.
whatever the term plunge into
Plunge.
your
Yeah.
plunge there go into your childhood
Oh my
just a little
God.
bit of
Oh
like
no.
how
Here it
was
comes.
Caitlyn like as a kid growing up, and how do you feel like that's influenced you in the way that you show up as an artist now?
Oh, okay. Well,
I know
um,
it's kind of
no, it's okay.
everywhere, but feel free to like share what's coming up in the moment.
No worries. When I was a kid, I was extremely lucky to have parents who approved of my art and my talents. A
Wow.
lot of Asian families discourage their children from pursuing art. And I thank my lucky stars every day that was never an issue for me. It's not like my parents were artists. I mean, my dad was kind of a poet and he would write.
Oh,
but
wow.
he wasn't like published or anything, you know. It was like something he liked to do when he was younger on his free time. He would write poetry. And my mom liked to draw, but she's a nurse, you know. So it's not like I came from an artista family or a family of art scholars or a particularly extremely wealthy family. You know, I never needed anything in terms of food or stuff like that growing up. I was well cared for. But I feel like when I was very young, I don't know, I can't tell if this like made me who I am in a great way or it actually kind of messed me up. I feel like my parents, especially my dad, who's like more of the artsy one, he really encouraged me. Like, it's like I could do no wrong. Like if I like to draw something, he'd be like, wow, you're gonna be an artist, Kaitlyn, keep drawing. And I feel like as children, we're like these little seedlings. And these seedlings, in order to become full-grown plants with blossoms, need sunlight and water and soil. And I just feel like that was very well cultivated in me as a young child, all the encouragement and the belief that I had from my teachers and my friends and my parents. And so in a way, like I can't even say, because so many people didn't have that growing up. I know so many people who just like, they were not given any opportunity to even feel good about themselves. And that's why they don't, pursuing their dreams or their passions is not even on their radar. Because they're told from such a young age, like, that's not going to make money. You're not talented. You can't do it. What makes you think you can do it? And I just never, for me, it was always like, green light, go. And, you know, I still get my parents every nowadays complaining, like, you're not making enough money. Why don't you go to nursing school? Or I'm going to take you to night school for finances. But at the end of the day, they still support my passions.
Yeah.
And I'm just lucky. And I wish that more parents, of course, keeping in mind realistic expectations for your child and their finances and their future, would encourage their child to pursue the passion that really lies inside their heart. Because if you foster that, if you water it and you give it air and space and sunlight, it's going to grow.
Yeah.
I get all poetic again. But yeah, it just, I was lucky as a child to, I went to a school where music was such a huge program. Like our music teachers were like internationally known and wanted.
Wow.
I got to take piano since the age of 5. I took violin, I took flute lessons. I took ballet, I took tap dance, I took gymnastics, I took swimming. Like all the lessons that I wanted, my parents they had the means and the money to invest in my future. Acting classes, you know, drama class. So, you know, I'm lucky. Yeah, I'm really lucky. Like I said, it's not like it wasn't like a showbiz family. And my parents weren't like teaching me anything, but at the least they were okay with it. Like they encouraged it. Like let Kaitlyn do her thing. Filipinos are extremely like musically minded. And the religious community I'm part of, or that I grew up in rather, was Seventh-day Adventist, and they're really into music as well. So church.
I think that's what my aunt is a part of. Yes,
Probably,
you're right.
yeah.
No, yes,
They're like
that's
big
what it is.
on music.
Music,
Yeah. So it was like a double whammy, being Filipino and being in the Adventist community. It was like music was everywhere. And so music, art, you know, it just, no one stopped me. Let's just put it like that. No one stopped me. And when I was a teenager and I started auditioning for like commercials and stuff like that, my parents, I didn't have a momager or anything like that. It was me. I was the one who would ask my parents, like, can you drive me to this audition? I was the one who was trying to find an agent for myself. You know, oh my God, I forgot where I was going to go with this.
Oh, no.
My brain was like onto something. Okay. Yes. I started approaching some walls when I started going out for acting gigs, because that's when I realized that they didn't have any roles for me because of how I looked. So that was the first slap in the face. I was like, wait, they always want a white actress. And if they don't, they want a Black or Hispanic actress. And if they don't, they want an Asian actress. And if they do, they want her to be Chinese, Japanese, or Korean. and she has to speak one of these languages. And there was like, it was a desolate wasteland back then. This was like 15, 16 years ago. There was like nothing for people.
2005, that area.
There was nothing for you and I. It was impossible, especially if you didn't have really great representation. So when I was in college, I made a vow to myself that I would dedicate myself to the cause of trying to put people of color in front of the camera. And here I am today, still trying to do that. And that was really discouraging because like, imagine when you're a kid, everything's all go. And then when you actually get into the industry, you're like, wait, I can't do any of this. So it was kind of a slap in the face.
I know that's really sad because it's like, kind of like what you said, a slap in the face, and it's really like the first jab at like what the world can look like.
Yeah,
and I say
look like.
Very loosely can look like, because it's not always like that, like growing up with a family that really like tried their best to support you in in your dreams, and then for you to get a taste, like some taste of what that was.
And okay, so they were pretty encouraging for the most part, but I distinctly remember when I was I don't remember how old I was, but my dad was saying, I don't think there's any future for you in acting, because you're Filipino and they're not going to cast you as the lead. And then he goes, wait, actually, you know what? No, you could be the best friend. He was like, you could be the best friend. And I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong, Dad. Like, even though he was like, yeah, go do it. He was kind of like, how far are you really going to get? Right. So it's fine. I'm proving him wrong every day. And my parents are like, and they're my biggest fans. They support all my projects. It's fine. It's just I'm glad that society is going in the direction it's going in.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Oh,
bless every day. It's so inspiring, and it's such a dream come true. I never thought I'd live to see the day. I used to think I'm gonna spend the rest of my life championing this, and not that much time has passed, and we're kind of already getting there.
Yeah, like 15 years, literally, just like looking at the stark.
Even in the past 5 years, like like 5, 6, 7 years. Look at that.
Yes, 10 years even. Just like looking from 2010 to like 2020.
Yeah,
it's very drastic, like in a good way.
In a good way. So I'm really happy for that, and hopefully with these things that my team and I are putting out now, like it's just gonna bring more attention to art by Filipinos like you and I. We're kind of the overlooked minority. Like we're kind of the invisible minority in America, even though we constitute the second largest Asian immigrant group in the country. Did you know that?
I've heard of it. Yes, that's not the first time I'm here. Yes, this is like the end, like the
right after Chinese, it's Filipino.
Yes,
but we're virtually invisible in the media. Yeah, we're invisible
because we can be so quiet and like so submissive in the terms of like, what's that term called? You probably know this. Just gonna just like don't challenge the status quo and just kind of like put your head down.
Keep your head and you know what, I'm sorry to keep plugging this, but like my series talks about that too. The series I'm working on, like it's supposed to be a commentary on the effects of colonialism that reached up until today, and the erasure of Filipino history in the face of colonialism. As well as the intergenerational trauma that results as a result of colonialism in the Philippines. Now, when we talk about colonialism, we oftentimes think of like the conqueror coming in and killing everyone, or causing diseases, kind of like Native Americans. But in the Philippines, it was a little different. The Spaniards came in and they already had kind of like a trade operation going on with the Philippines. But their main method of suppression was by just kind of how shall I say this? They were trying to treat the Filipinos kind of like buddy, so that the Filipinos kind of, after a while, you kind of just give in. There's no more fight in you left to live. You kind of just say like, well, they're treating us okay, so we'll just let them stay. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the means or the education to fight back or revolutionize or organize. And yeah, in many instances of colonialism, you root out the rebellious forces so that the DNA of those who are submissive are continuing to be passed on. So what you have are like people who are just more likely to submit. And in the Filipino consciousness, we already culturally live by principles of family, getting along. Harmony is super important. So even to this day, like there's this sense of like, just keep your head down and like, let's all just be friends. Let's just, get along. Don't fight back. Don't kill the oppressor. Don't fight against whitewashing and colonialist supremacy,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay, Professor Fae.
I like how you went, well.
Oh no,
Excuse me.
I know because my shirt too. Like I'm always feeling my shirt always looks a little different.
Yeah,
the tabs of the interview. Yeah.
You're good.
Wow. Kaitlyn, you are amazing. And I mean, obviously you've like, you have your own you have your own podcast. So you know how this goes. And I just super appreciate the way you've kind of been like interweaving the nuances of like all these different questions that I have, which you've been answering actually.
Oh, yes. Great. I'm happy.
No, very good.
Yeah,
yes.
That's great.
Actually the next thing that I'm curious about, and we're actually like about to head to like the second half of the interview really is so in terms of approach, because I know like your story is out there and your advocacy is very clear.
Mm-hmm.
With everything that you do, like how are you doing it? Like how are you juggling all of this? Because I'm sure there's someone watching and or listening that's like, that sounds like me. I can relate to her, but how do I even begin?
Let me tell you a story, Adrian.
Go ahead.
When I first graduated college, I spent the majority of my day sitting on my ass and feeling bad for myself. I used to say, okay, I'm going to make a list of all the things I'm going to do today, and I'm going to check off every single one on that list. And the day would go by, and it's 11 p.m. or it's 12 a.m., and I'm like, I literally did nothing. I did none of the things on my list that I said I was going to do. And I would see people online doing cool stuff, or I would watch interviews with artists that I admired. I'd be seeing all the cool stuff they're doing, and I'd do the math, and I'd be like, oh my God, they're even younger than me, and they're like doing all this cool stuff. And I would just, I hate to say it because it's not like your value lies in the things you do. Nothing could ever match the sense of self-worth or the personal relationships you have with yourself.
In the things that you do.
In the things that you do. But I still felt bad. And I felt unhappy. I felt depressed. I felt, restless. And what I would do is I just go out drinking with my friends to try to make myself feel better. And then I'd come home to my parents' house and sit in my room and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I would think, despite the fact that I was so encouraged growing up to pursue art, I would feel like there's nothing I could possibly do that could make me succeed in this industry I want to be part of. There's not enough people who look like me. I don't have the talent. I don't have the drive. I'm too sensitive to rejection. I don't have the connections. I don't have the knowledge. I just don't have it in me. And I just feel like I'm not good enough, like I felt lost. And to this day, I refer to that time in my life as the lost years. I didn't even know how I was going to leave my parents' house. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the jobs. I just didn't know what I was doing.
You're speaking the truth in some ways right now. For
many of us, right?
For many of us, including me.
Yeah.
But what happened? I'm curious.
Well,
what was that?
Years passed.
Turn? Yes.
Years passed like this, and again, I would admire the people who were doing things they wanted to do, and I was on a plane trip one year. My family wanted to go see my cousin graduate from Berklee School of Music, which is in Boston. And I was on this plane ride, and I still to this day, I'm terrible with planes. I have like really bad, I cannot fly. I'm just going to have like a panic attack the whole time. So I was trying to distract myself. And this is so cheesy, but I was reading this book called The Alchemist.
I've
Have
heard of
you,
it.
is The Alchemist? Like, I've heard about it since I was a kid, but I never read it. And I was like, I don't know, is this boring? I don't feel like reading this. But I mean, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but essentially, the book is about following your dreams. And again, I know that's so cheesy, but it tries to poignantly describe that the destination is actually your beginning, yet you have to go on the journey in the first place to truly recognize that you have what it is that you need. You know, to spoiler for those of you who still want to read the book, it's about this like boy, I think he's like a shepherd or something, and he's trying to find this precious treasure, and he goes on this journey, and in the end he finds out that the treasure was in the place where he started out in the beginning all along. It's like underneath the place where he was sleeping in the beginning, where he has a dream. So he has to go back to the place where he had this dream to uncover the treasure, but it was there all along. And yet he would never know the treasure was there if he hadn't gone on this journey. So that happened. And then I had dinner with this couple that went to my parents' church, and they sat me down, they gave me dinner, and they said, Caitlyn, why aren't you pursuing your dream? Why aren't you trying to be an actress? Why aren't you trying to do art? And I said, oh, I am, but I just, like, no, you have what it takes. You have the talent, and you know you do. We support you. You should do it. So it was having that dinner with that couple, and it was reading The Alchemist back to back, which made me realize, like, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to be where I know I belong. And it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter if there are setbacks. This is the path that I need to be on. The path of stagnation was never mine to begin with. It was always struggle, endurance, and victory. And from there, it's been a never-ending cycle of go forward, move forward. My life is my own. I am my own master. I am the captain of, what is it? I am the captain of my ship, or the master of my ship. You know what I'm talking about. That Invictus
yes, and I was also going to say, life is your buffet. There you go.
Life is my buffet. I can stuff my face with cheese rolls if I want, Yeah. So that happened, and then I was like kind of, okay, so I did that for a couple years. I was doing music. I was doing acting. I was getting into shows. And then I kind of hit a plateau. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know if I want to act. I'm so tired of all these rejections. Yeah. So it's not like it was all candy and roses from me. There was like a lot of rejection, a lot of failures, and a lot of self-doubt, even though I decided to go on the journey. And I was just like, oh, what if I'm doing everything wrong? And then I just thought, you know what? Maybe I just need to take a break from all this. And I remember thinking, I've always wanted to make a movie, but I never felt smart enough or knowledgeable enough. When I was in high school, I watched this news segment that said the vast majority of film directors out there are male. And I thought, well, that means I'm never going to do it because I'm just too stupid. I'm a girl. Like, what do I know? I don't know anything about tech or cameras or filmmaking. But then I was going on this break from acting, and I realized, you know what? If the universe can send me a sign, I'll do it. So this is January of 2017. And I get a text from my friend Paulo. And I looked, you know how you can like scan a text and you haven't even read the whole thing, but you already know what it's about?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That just happened to me recently. Actually.
Yeah. You already know what it's about. He sent me this long ass text, and I looked at it for like half a second, and I knew this was my sign from the universe. He said, hey, Caitlyn, I just went to a mixer where there's like this Filipino-American filmmaking group, and they're looking for Filipino filmmakers to submit a movie to LA Asian for this year's festival. And I said, thank you, Jesus. This is my sign. I am going to do it. I'm going to put this acting thing on hold for a hot second and pursue writing and directing, because I've been doing that since I was a kid as well. And then that took off, and I'm still doing it today. And in the process, I went back and I reopened my interest in acting and music. So that's why I'm doing a million things, because you see what I mean?
What a full circle.
I took a break, and I came back to where I started. But I needed to go in a different direction in order to find
pivot.
I need to pivot to see what was always there.
The Alchemist, like the story.
The Alchemist, like the Alchemist. So that's why it looks like I'm doing a lot of stuff. It's because I think it was meant to be. You know?
Yes, kind of like the pivot.
all of these roots, all these artistic journeys that I'm on, they're all roads are leading to the same path, and it's going to take me into the career that I know I should be in. But it's all contributing. The trick is really just self-care and like taking a break when I need to. But I think it's all part of the same, it's all part of the same banquet. It's all the same table, all the food. It's meant to be consumed.
Yes.
And so that's where I am.
Nice.
I don't know.
Wow.
So I wanted to do it all because I remember, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the statement anymore, but I remember telling people I would rather be, what is it? I'd rather be stressed and doing too much than be depressed and not doing enough. So
I could actually see like the nuance of that. Yeah.
So you shouldn't be too stressed where you're going crazy. But I like the feeling of like I said, it's what I craved when I was younger and I didn't get it. So I like the feeling of like going out and doing stuff and having all these projects and meeting all these cool people and consuming art. It's just it's the painting that my life has taken on. It's like the portrait that's occurring.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, a part of me was like, why not both?
Yeah, I was like, I'll do it all. Yeah.
Why, why can't someone be depressed and want to take a break at some point of their lives while also going at it when they're ready? Because I think that's kind of, I mean, like that statement in itself, because I mean, like the times that we're in now, thankfully, I do feel like we're beginning to like chip into something of just learning to finding ease and flow in the doing versus the hustle and grind, kind of learning to like deconstruct what that is.
Yes. I mean,
Darna.
Yeah, no, it's kind of, I think what you're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, is this idea that you can create for creation's sake without having to abide by these rules or expectations or some agreed upon idea of success, right?
Yes, and that we don't always have to like kill ourselves to make our dreams come true. Like they're actually maybe and get to be that balance of like what feels good, like what feels good, that flow, organic flow state, and I know it's very ambiguous, and this is actually like a concept that I've like super recently started really beginning to understand within the past year now with the pandemic and my life being all over the place. But then when I like now look back at it, it was always there because I just really needed to like even in the chaos of like losing my aunt, like kind of my just life changing in general, like things were changing. I think the more I like listened to what my gut was telling me, as hard as it was, the more that the answers were there, not sure if that makes sense, but
I think so. Like your emotions are your compass in life, right? Because they cue you into your internal value system, and your values determine where you really want to and should be in life. I can see how like you just tapping into what is already there is probably going to put you in a less chaotic spot than otherwise, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that made sense.
Well, I mean, what do we really know, right? What do we really know? What is true?
Life? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
wow.
I feel you. Yeah. When the pandemic happened, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, I'm not doing anything." But I was like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm busy as ever because all this shit I'm doing can be done online.
Yes. You pivoted another pivot.
Yeah, I'm actually really stressed out right now.
Oh, girl, I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Okay.
Just kidding.
No, I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I had to step away from my podcast because even though I wanted to stay, I was like having a panic attack when I wasn't full on panic attack. I was just really stressed out. And I remember thinking if I took away half of my responsibilities right now, I would still be stressed out. So that's not good. So that's why I had to apologize to everyone and say, hey, I got to leave or at least take an indefinite break because there's like too much on my plate right now, and my
yes,
mental health has to come first. Yeah.
yes.
So, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you're like me, but if you're like an Energizer bunny, you don't realize when you're getting tired until it's too late, and then you break
Oh
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is actually, I feel like the journey that I'm at. That's something that I'm like kind of learning to understand about myself, or the gauges of like ooh, before it gets like
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And also too, like with actually this is perfect for you because you're I don't know, I didn't mention it, but definitely being like a multi hyphenated artist,
Mm-hmm.
clearly, you know, because I was working with a coach, like a mindset business coach. Shout
Ooh.
out to Kenta earlier this year. You
Yo,
know,
I gotta talk to this person.
yes, I'll send him his contact because he's
Okay.
actually the reason why I was able to begin to actually get myself out of what you called, or what you referred to as your like lost
Like
years.
last year. Oh, I see. Everyone's
Lost,
on a different track. I know
yes,
friends right now who are my age or older, and they're in their lost years right now. So that's totally fine. I might have
you
another pair
know,
of lost years. You never know.
yes, and basically in how he helped me understand everything was like there are seasons, and this is going back to actually what you're saying about like you're leaving, having to leave your podcast because it's what you have to
Mm-hmm.
do. Like
It's
there
what
are
I have to do. Yeah.
seasons, yeah, like there are seasons where like you can prioritize your podcast
Yeah.
and then do everything else under, and then there are seasons where it has to be like this. And
Yes.
what
Yeah.
he said about what I'm doing is because I'm doing photography. I'm, really getting into filmmaking,
Uh-huh. I didn't know
being
you
a
were a
content
photographer.
creator. I am.
Oh, is
See,
that? Oh, yeah. That's some equipment behind you, isn't that?
it's like a
It's
lighting,
like a light
yeah, just one of
box, right?
the, and basically just like finish my tangent. What he said was there are seasons where that is the one that's activated, then you get to deactivate what's not currently like kind of
Yep.
serving you.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. 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 That he's
So
right. I
yeah,
get it. I'm sure there are things in your life that you maybe had to kind of put on the back burner for a little bit while you
like
concentrate on learning.
photography. Yeah,
Right. Same. I mean, I was trying to do photography too for a couple years, or like a couple years
yeah.
ago, but then I was like, oh, there's
Mhm.
too many things going on. Um,
It's my lighting.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's. I was supposed to take a break from filmmaking this year as well. That obviously didn't happen
Mm.
because I was
Life is
I
life is
was
probably telling you that you probably just need to stay this just a little bit longer. Like what you said, right?
just a little bit longer.
Finish it.
Yeah,
Finish what you started.
finish your shit, and then I'll take a
Finish your
break.
shit.
I was super lucky to be invited to be part of this acting group. This was still during the pandemic, so it was all on Zoom. I mean, still on Zoom, but I don't know. We might transition to in person. But it's like an acting group for all Filipino actors. So yeah, and then
Wow.
so many people wanted to join that they had to start a sister group of Filipino actors, and we would just we would like memorize. You get a scene partner every week, or it happens only every other Thursday. So every other
Mm.
week you practice a scene and you're given a scene partner, but you practice on your own and then you bring it to class and then you get critiqued. And it's all Filipino actors and I've never
Oh,
seen anything like this before. Yeah. So
I
it
want to
was
get invited, or at least I
yeah.
just want to learn more about it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, actually we have a actor who's in New York. So it's on Zoom, it's not like you have to be in the same city. But
Yeah,
if you're interested, I can, we can talk later, but I can
yeah.
get you in touch with our organizers who you can maybe come in and watch a class. And then if you want to start your own, you're more than welcome. Because are you an actor as well?
Yeah, yes. See there
Okay.
again, the way I was saying,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really interested. I'm really fascinated by like, yeah, I'm really interested in it.
There you go. Yeah. So you should, if you're interested, talk to me
Yes,
about
there you
it
go. Okay, I'm
later.
gonna
Yeah,
say it.
yeah.
Yes, loud and proud.
Yes,
Yes.
you are an actor. And yes, you're interested in this stuff. And yes, I'm more than happy to hook you up. So that's that.
Thank you. Thank you,
Namaste.
my love.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. This interview, I feel like this interview
So
really
cray cray.
went everywhere,
And you're
but
right. Tangy,
but
tangy.
this is the tangiest of the episode of them all
Tangiest.
yet,
Yeah, yeah.
because well, when it's facilitated by Mr. Tangent over here, you already know how it's gonna
It's
go
okay.
down.
It's okay.
But
It's all good.
you know, as we wrap this up, I actually want to invite you to currently talk about your current project, which is the short film that you're currently fundraising, which is in its final stretch. Please share us about this project, the journey, and what you all are setting out to do to raise funds for it, my friend.
Okay, well, the project is through a media company called Scriptless Media, and I am the writer and director of this film. It's based on a true story that happened to the executive producer's friend, Henry Q, who's a dentist. The story follows a young man named Josh, who's Chinese American, and he's a struggling photographer who is grieving the recent death of his mother. He has an estranged relationship with his father, and his father kind of forces to go on a camping trip with him. It's what they used to always do as a family. So it's the first camping trip since the mother's death, and there they accidentally eat like a bunch of magic mushrooms. There's like a whole story behind it, yeah. And in the result of that is that the father and son go on a kind of journey, if you will, that results in them settling their differences and opening up about how they're both grieving the mother's death. So that is going to be fun. We launched our Indiegogo campaign for it a couple days ago. In the total, we are trying to raise $35,000. The Indiegogo right now is $15,000 with a stretch goal of $20,000, and right now we're at a little over $6,000.
Yes, at this point of recording.
At the point of recording, but
yes,
at this time,
yes. You're so good.
Yeah.
At this point, yes, yeah.
We will be in, by the time you guys are watching this, we will be in our final week of the campaign. So every dollar counts, and there's always that, stretch at the final, couple last days of the campaign where everyone's hurting, everyone is
making that
hauling ass, shitting bricks, if you will.
Yeah.
So, complete the campaign. But if anything moves you in this premise that I have just so eloquently described, if the Holy Spirit moves you to drop a couple dollars in our Indiegogo fund, please let me stop you by any means. So that's one of the projects I'm working on alongside the comic book series and the band.
Yeah.
And some other stuff. But
wow.
Those are
friend, you. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no! Cut me off, please.
You're funny. Wow. It's so just a little bit of a disclaimer. This is actually the first time that Kaitlyn and I actually probably had a full-on conversation in general. Yeah. So what you're experiencing is like that visceral, like in the moment of like, like it's real. This is real. So first of all, I just wanted to say thank you again to our company over here for like this opportunity for her to come on my show and for her to feel like she can open up about, some parts of her life. And it's like half the time that I was listening, I was like speechless, as you've heard earlier. I'm like, thank you.
I heard your speechlessness.
Yeah, the crickets. So as we actually go into the closing question of the interview, and that question is, drum roll, and I know you know about this because you've seen the show, but I'm curious to see what you feel like is your own legacy that you would like to leave behind.
Legacy? Oh my, you really know how to pull out the questions, my friend. I don't know. I feel like there's the shallow legacy and then there's the real legacy, which you should be answering, but my real answer is probably close to the shallow answer.
It's okay. I mean, it's really okay.
I mean, in terms of like, if I were to die tomorrow,
Can we do both? Like,
okay, yeah.
Yes, I love that actually.
Okay, great. So the shallow answer is I really want to create like a series. Like a series featuring like people of color. Like I want to be a showrunner and I want to create an original series, kind of like the series that I'm doing right now, that features like multi POV exciting character arcs with like really juicy character development and like action-packed sequences that illustrate important truths about reality through a story. But on a deeper level, what's important, I guess, is that I contribute my own personal individual insights about this reality that we're all sharing, and that somehow gets translated into the public consciousness. See, even then, that sounds like, oh my God, like, who are you trying to be? If I could just, like, if I knew I was dying tomorrow, I'd probably just write a manifesto, or I'd write like all my thoughts out, you know what I mean? And I'd be like, here you go, I'm gonna die, go publish it, you know? Like,
wow.
And just to know that maybe someone out there, I touched them, or I helped someone, or I inspired someone in the way that many people have saved my life and inspired me. And I would not be here today as relatively functional as I am if it hadn't been for this person sharing that story. I hope to do that for someone else, even if it's just one person. So that's my legacy, at least my hoped for legacy. I oftentimes like to disguise my messages in the form of a story, in the form of a narrative. But, you know, whether it comes in story form or not, just communicating that truth out there is what to me is most important.
Beautiful. It sounds like, it just really sounds like you're setting yourself up to be, and I'm going to quote Trixie on this, to be a good ancestor for the future generations to come. Ooh. That was her answer, and I was like, okay, bitch. She said,
what if like 100 years in the future, they're like, have you seen this Soul Supremacy podcast with this guy named Adrian, and he had interviewed this chick named Kaitlyn? Oh my God, talk about
setting up the foundation for the future generations to come. Yeah.
Actually, that's great. It's kind of like the people who are going to be really carrying the future have to stand on the backs of giants. And if you can be a giant for people who will come after you, let's be real, I'm probably not going to have kids. I just got my cats. Like, but the art that you put out there, the messages, those are your children, and they will live in perpetuity as long as the idea is out there.
Yes,
so.
and they hopefully should and will outlive us, the works that we create.
Amen.
Yes, my friend.
Yes.
We made it to the end.
On
and
that
this is the time to plug, because I know you have your Jollibee waiting.
Oh God.
Jollibee, if you're listening to this,
shout out to Jollibee.
Please sponsor Kaitlyn and I to go into the Philippines. We will create something with you.
Let's go. I mean,
we should do it.
I might be going maybe next year for a research trip, but like, hey, if you want to come, go see your friends.
Yes, accommodation. My family's from Cebu, so that's like very.
The story I'm writing takes place in Cebu City. So see, I have to go to Cebu. Yeah, I've never been.
Oh, see this conversation over here. My friend, where can people find you?
You can follow my Instagram at Kaitlyn.Fae. KAITLYN.FAE. Kaitlyn Fae, everything, IMDb page, Vimeo page, my website, Kaitlyn Fae.
Yes, which obviously this will all be in the show notes. So you don't have to
I can send you stuff.
Getting a piece of paper and like try to write. It'll be accessible for you guys. Yeah. And lastly, again, please invite everyone to support your current films. Indiegogo.
Oh, yes.
I was say Kickstarter. Indiegogo.
Yes. One Pine Indiegogo. I'm sure we'll send a link as well. But support AAPI-led stories by AAPI women and Filipinx filmmakers such as myself. You are doing the community a service by just lending your time, even if it's a shout out or a couple dollars. We are grateful for any of it. I was about to say we're here to accept all, but we are grateful for anything. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. I've had a lot of fun. You're a great host.
Thank you.
Bless.
Thank you, my love.
Yeah.
Woo! We made it. Woo! Wow. Okay. So before I say my final spiel, first of all, you already know how grateful I am for you, but also to like have guests who like also like challenge I mean, that's the idea, right? To be challenged and to learn. Like our friend over here really like had me at the tip of my toes the whole time because I had questions. I have not looked at my phone. Okay.
Oh, see, we just let it flow. You just let it
Yes.
flow. Don't try to,
Yes.
have to
Yeah.
plan anything.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you so much again for your time, my love.
Thank you for having
And
me.
thank you, and also thank you for everyone who tuned into Soul Supremacy. This is the end of the episode. So please tune in next Friday for another guest. Can't wait for you to see who that special guest
Yeah,
is.
exciting.
I wonder who that guest will be. But we made it, y'all. Have a good night.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you.
This podcast show is a product of Studio Penguino. For more information about advertising, please visit www.adrianpenguino.com.